a tiny bit of play in the rear hub, and I could feel the free hub wasn't spinning at all as smooth as it was supposed to. Some weird ticking from the front wheel. Do I regret getting them myself? No, I don't regret it one single bit. I can say that I'm super happy with these wheels now.
Now there you have it in black and white. Never ever base your purchasing decisions on my videos. I mean, I bought titanium rotor screws for 30 bucks for one set. That's not normal. I will get back to these in a bit. But I want to start with a bit of an disclaimer that I should probably do more often. I make videos about the shit I put on my bike and the story of that bike evolving. I don't go out and buy new parts to review them, so when I pick up something new, I don't immediately start looking for faults. But when I find some, I will definitely report on that, as I did on the first two videos about the Extralite wheels. Since those first issues, they have been working flawlessly for me as my everyday wheel. You could argue that these are more kind of a race day wheel set, but I don't race anymore, so what the hell, I'm gonna use them as much as I can. Like I said, they have been working flawlessly until they didn't. I was out on a long ride out in the mountains and snapped one spoke on the rear wheel. That in itself is nothing really to raise your eyebrows about. I had that in the back of my head, the possibility that one spoke will snap sooner or later during the lifetime of these wheels. So that was a calculated risk. Since my brain is working in a mysterious way, I rather take that one broken spoke a year if I can save 100, 200 grams, no questions. So again, don't listen to me. Anyway, I got home, took the tire off. Me personally, I never really got into the whole wheel building thing, so I didn't want to start with an Extralite wheel. So I took the wheel over to my local bike shop. My man Yuta-san is always the one who hooks me up with everything there. And since the Extralite wheels comes with spare spokes, he had that spoke swapped out in like 10 minutes or something like that. But he said like he had problem getting the wheel really straight without going really wonky on the spoke tension. So we decided to leave it not totally straight. Got home and on with the tire again, pumped it up, and then I realized once there were pressure in the tire again, I could see there were some damage on the rim itself. When I didn't have the tire on, it almost didn't, you couldn't almost see it, but as soon as I got pressured in, it actually bulge. Well, you could see a proper bulge where the rim was damaged. And this was basically on the opposite side of where the spoke broke. Yeah, I don't know actually how this happened. I guess I must have hit the rim somehow. If that had something to do with the broken spoke, I can't say, but shit happens. And at this stage, I was starting to get a bit frustrated and started looking at other wheels. And the more I research other kind of wheel options, the more I realized there's nothing that even comes close to these, especially if you want tubeless and still have that medium depth rim. So then it was time to contact Extralite again. The first time was such a good experience. I had an answer and everything was sorted within a bit. This time was exactly the same time as Eurobike, so it took a few days this time to get an response. I showed them the pictures and they pretty much said the same thing as I did. With that kind of damage, I must have hit the rim somehow, but they offered me a crash replacement discount for a new rim, and I could either send my whole wheel back and they will do it for me, but all the shipping back and forth would cost money, and they gave me another option. They basically sent me the new rim. I didn't have to send back anything and then had the wheel rebuilt here. And that was a much easier thing for me at least. So once I got the rim, I just took the wheel and the rim back to Yuta-san, and since there was a whole rebuild going to happen, I decided to actually swap all the spokes as well. So instead of the hyper spoke or whatever Extralite calls them, I think it's actually pillar spokes, but the super light ones, I decided to swap all the spokes for Sapim CX-Ray spokes instead to get that little extra durability. It did mean I would add a few grams to the wheels, which really hurt me inside. But I had a plan to lose those grams on other places anyway. So I left everything to Yuta-san, and he knows me really well. When he started to rebuild the wheel, he sent me a picture of every step and every part, and the old spokes versus the new spokes, the old nipples versus the new nipples, the old rim versus the new rim, and weights on everything. And that's how you know you have a great local bike shop. Sales cycle Omia for life. So since the new rim actually were a few grams lighter than the old rim, the new rebuilt wheel was actually not that bad. Originally the wheel came in at 580 grams for the complete rear wheel. The new wheel with the Sapim spokes ended up coming in at 592 grams. So I added 12 grams with those spokes. That will definitely be a lot more durable, at least that's what I'm hoping. So since I had already spent so much money getting a new rim and everything, I decided why not just spend some more money and just feed these wheels money. It's probably not the right solution, but yeah, again, my brain. So the first step was those bolts I talked about in the beginning. These are actually extra light bolts as well. They are super light. Only real problem I have with them is they are Torx T20, which is not the usual size you have on a multi-tool, for example. But what can you do? When you see the weight of the original bolts at 12.7 grams, when I put these extra light bolts on the scale, then you understand 5.1 grams. That is why. If you don't get that, you're a very sane person. So mounting the rotors with the new bolts, no issues there. I followed the instructions from Extralite and used Loctite 243 just to make sure they don't loosen and they don't get, what do you call it? Is it cold welding or something? You know, when you have titanium and aluminium, doesn't mix that well really. Thing number 2. I picked up the new Schwalbe PRO ONEs. These are the 2020 version, as you can see by the orange packaging. I picked up the 30mm version, which is not very weight weenie-ish of me, but I can't go back to anything less than 30 now. I just prefer riding those lower pressures. So much nicer. I'm happy to report that these new Pro Ones, they mount a lot easier than the old ones, at least for me. If you haven't seen my previous video on those, I had some issues, which was my fault in the end, but still. I could mount both these tires on the wheels, pump them up with my normal floor pump, and they seated and held air for about 4 hours. When I came back to see, still almost no pressure lost. Then the third new thing, since I ran out of orange seal swapping tires all the time, I picked up the new Panaracer Smart Seal Smart. This stuff. Pour that into the tire and pumped it up, no problem. Now I can't really say anything about the sealant other than that until I get a puncture. And that has not happened yet, at least. So, like I said, the tires are 30mm, but they're actually more true to size now. So if you've seen the other video on the old Pro ones I had, they were the 28s, and the axle width of those tires on my wheels was about 30.1 or something like that. And these are basically the same width, so actually true to size, so to speak. And in terms of weight, these new 30mm ones, one came in at 288 grams, the other one came in at 295 grams. My old Pro ones, the 28mm version, came in at 203 and 205. If you just look at the labels, it might actually look like these are a lot lighter because these are 30s and the old ones were 28s. But in reality, they are basically the same width and about the same weight. But of course, a few grams is always a few grams. So the wheels are on the bike. Now it's time to go out and see how much I've been missing these. I've been on my backup wheel set for a month or so now. How many months? Yeah, for a while at least. So back to the lightweight life. Yeah, since the typhoon hit about 2 weekends ago, and yesterday we had another stint of really heavy rain, most of all these mountain roads and nice climbs are closed. At least there are signs that they're closed. You can sneak past if you're stupid like me. So I came out here, actually had a plan in my head to finally be a bit sensible and say all this gram saving doesn't really matter, blah blah blah. But then I started to climb on these wheels, and these, I mean, they climb so nice, so snappy. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, I love them so much. They give me so much headache, but I love them. But as much as I love these wheels, to give some kind of recommendations, which you obviously shouldn't listen to anyway, the only reason to get these wheels is to shave off that weight, or putting together a really nice set of racing climbing wheels. If you're on disc brakes and want tubeless, for example, you can't get any lighter than this unless you go some crazy custom stuff. And I probably wouldn't use this as my only wheel set. As I learned, I was very happy to have a backup set. So using this as an everyday wheel, maybe not ideal. Will I continue to use this as my everyday wheel? You goddamn right.